Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we will be conducting the pre-bid conference for 23GE 0077. Please all stand for a prayer. Let us pray.
Almighty God, our Father, praise and thank you for this day. You have given us another victory, which we should not These minor shortcomings, allow us to let your kindness. We will draw our lives to your Son. Father, let us pray that our discussion today is for the lack of giving confidence. Guide us in our discussions. Unite our minds and institutions. We rush your grace and faith and lead to our hearts and servants. Bless our plans, programs, and others, so that we achieve our objectives. Holy Spirit,
and for attendees, we have here our BAC Chairperson, Engineer May Tabiano. And for our Vice BAC Chairperson, we have Engineer Francisca Malcon. And for the BAC members, we have Engineer Eledula Zulia and Engineer Troy Villanueva. We also have here our BAC DPWH Head, Engineer Rona Ortiz. And BAC DPWH member, we have Engineer Giovanni Servano, Engineer Flor Gadnanan, Ms. Gail Candice Cañete, Engineer Adrian Von Villarreal. And we have here a representative from Planning and Design Section. We have Architect Emmanuel Cloma. And for our VACSEC members, we have Ms. Cherry Jane Yesca and Ms. Ebony Gallo. We don't have any attendees from prospective bidders who attended this afternoon's pre-bid conference.
Contract ID 23GE 0077. With a contract name, Rehabilitation, Major Repair of Multipurpose Building, Reconstruction of Multipurpose Building, Barangay San Miguel, Hordan, Guimaras. Location, Barangay San Miguel, Hordan, Guimaras, with an APC of 9,650,000. Source of funds, FY 2023 and Program Appropriation. Contract duration, 120 calendar days. Cost of bid documents, 10,000. The scope of work for 23GE 0077. Part 1, Other General Requirements. Part A, Earthworks. Part B, Plain and Reinforced Concrete Works. Part C, Finishing Works. Part D, Plumbing and Sanitary Works. Part E, Electrical Works. The required pickup license for 23GE 0077 project are as follows. Size range, small b. License category, C and D. Single largest project above 500,000 pesos up to 10 million pesos. Allowable range of contract cost up to 15 million. Major categories of works for 23GE 0077. Building, repair. Similar categories of works: buildings, retrofitting, high-rise. Buildings, retrofitting, low-rise. Buildings, construction with piles, low-rise, concrete frame-driven piles. These are the documents comprising the bid. Legal documents, PhilJEP's registration, SEC registration or DTI registration, Mayor's permit and tax clearance. Technical documents requirements, statement of ongoing contracts, statement of bidder single largest completed contracts, pickup license or special pickup JV license, bid security, organizational chart, list of contractors' major equipment, list of contractors' minimum materials testing equipment, Omnibus Sworn Statement, ITR and Financial Statement, and FCC Computation, Valid Joint Venture Agreement if applicable. Financial documents requirements, financial bid form, bill of quantities, detailed estimates including summary sheet, quarterly, monthly, cash flow, and payment schedule. All documents shall be printed in A4 format, tabbed, and bounded. Please attach the bidding documents in the technical component of your bid. General conditions of contract. The general conditions of contract, GCC, in this section read in conjunction with the special condition of contract in section 5 and other documents listed therein, shall be a complete document expressing all the rights and obligation of the parties. Matters governing performance of the contract, payments under the contract, or matters affecting the rights and obligation of the parties under the contract are included in the GCC and special condition of contract. Any complementary information which may be needed shall be introduced only through the special condition of the contract. Scope of contract. This contract shall include all such items, although not specifically mentioned, that can be reasonably inferred as being required for its completion, as if such item were expressly mentioned herein. All the provision of RA 9184 and its 2016 revised IRR, including the generic procurement manual and associated issuances, constitute the primary source for the terms and conditions of the contract, and thus applicable and contract implementation. Herein clauses shall serve as the secondary source for the terms and conditions of the contract. This is without prejudice to section 74.1 and 74.2 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA number 9184, allowing the GPPB to amend the IRR, which shall be applied to all procurement activities, that advertisement, posting, and or invitation of which were issued after the effectivity of the said amendments. Section completion of works. If sectional completion of work of specified in the special condition of contract, references in the condition of contract of the works, the completion date and the intended completion date shall apply to any section of the work other than references to the completion date and intended completion date for the whole of the works. Possession of site. The procuring entity shall give possession of all or parts of the site to the contractor based on the schedule of delivery indicated in the SCC, which corresponds to the execution of the work. If the contractor suffers delay or incurs cost from failure on the part of the procuring entity to give possession in accordance with the terms of this clause, the procuring entity's representative shall give the contractor a contract time extension and certify such sum as fair to cover the cost incurred, which sum shall be paid by procuring entity. If possession of a portion is not given by the above date, the procuring entity will be deemed to have delayed the start of the relative activities. The resulting adjustment in the contract time to address such delay may be addressed through contract extension provided under Annex E of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. Contractor's obligation. The contractor shall employ the key personnel named in the schedule of key personnel indicating their designation in accordance with ITB Clause 10.3 and specified in the BDS to carry out the supervision of the works. The procuring entity will approve any proposed replacement of key personnel only if the relative qualification and abilities are equal to or better than those of the personnel listed in the schedule.
Performance security within 10 calendar days from receipt of the notice of award from procuring entity, but in no case later than the signing of the contract by both parties. The successful bidder shall furnish the performance security in any of the forms prescribed in Section 39 of the 2016 revised IRR. The contractor, by entering into the contract with the procuring entity, acknowledges the right of the procuring entity to institute action pursuant to RA number 3688 against a subcontractor, be they an individual, firm, partnership, corporation, or association supplying the contractor with labor, materials, and/or equipment for the performance of this contract. Site investigation reports. The contractor, in preparing the bid, shall rely on any site investigation reports referred to and the ECC supplemented by any information obtained by the contractor. Warranty. In case the contractor fails to undertake the repair works under Section 62.2.2 of the 2016 revised IRR, the procuring entity shall forfeit its performance security, subject its properties to attachment or garnishment proceedings, and perpetually disqualified it from participating in any public bidding. All payables of the GOP in his favor shall offset to recover the cost. The warranty against structural defects, failures, except that occasioned on force majeure, shall cover the period from the date of issuance of the certificate of final acceptance by the procuring entity. Specific duration of the warranty is found in the ECC. Liability of the contractor. Subject to additional provisions, if any set forth in the ECC, the contractor's liability under this contract shall be as provided by the laws of the Republic of the Philippines. If the contractor is a joint venture, all partners to the joint venture shall be jointly and severally liable to the procuring entity. Termination for other causes. Contract termination shall be initiated in case it is determined prima facie by the procuring entity that the contractor has engaged before or during the implementation of the contract in unlawful deeds and behaviors relative to contract acquisition and implementation, such as, but not limited to, corrupt, fraudulent, collusive, coercive, and obstructive practices as stated in ITB Clause 4. Day works. Subject to the guidelines of the Variation Order in Annex A of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184, and if applicable as indicated in the ACC, the day works rates and the contractor's bid shall be used for small additional amounts of work only when the procuring entity's representative has given written instructions in advance for additional work to be paid for in that way. Program of work. The contractor shall submit to the procuring entity's representative for approval the said program of work showing the general methods, arrangements, order, and timing for all the activities in the works. The submissions of the program of work are indicated in the ACC. The contractor shall submit to the procuring entity's representative for approval an updated program of work at intervals no longer than the period stated in the ACC. If the contractor does not submit an updated program of work within this period, the procuring entity's representative
may withhold the amount stated in the ECC from the next payment certificate and continue to withhold this amount until the next payment after the date on which the overdue program of work has been submitted. Instructions, inspections, and audits. The contractor shall permit the GOP or the procuring entity to inspect the contractor's accounts and records relating to the performance of the contractor and to have them audited by auditors of the GOP or the procuring entity as may be required. Advance payment. The procuring entity shall, upon a written request of the contractor which shall be submitted as a contract document, make an advance payment to the contractor in an amount not exceeding 15% of the total contract price, to be made in the lump sum or at the most 2 installments according to the schedule specified in the ECC, subject to the requirements in Annex A of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. Progress payments. The contractor may submit a request for payment for work accomplished. Such request for payment shall be verified and certified by the procuring entity's representative or project engineer, except as otherwise stipulated in the ECC. Materials and equipment delivered on site but not completely put in place shall not be included for payment. Operating and maintenance manuals. If required, the contractor will provide asphalt drawings and or operating and maintenance manuals as specified in the ECC. If the contractor does not provide the drawings and or manuals by the dates stated above, or they do not receive the procuring entity's representative's approval, the procuring entity's representative may withhold the amount stated in the ECC from payments due to the contractor.
Special condition of contract. Notes on special conditions of contract. Similar to the BDs, the clauses in these sections are intended to assist the procuring entity in providing contract-specific information in relation to corresponding clauses in the GCC found in Section 4. The special condition of contract complement the GCC specifying contractual requirements linked to the special circumstances of the procuring entity, the procuring entity's country, the sector, and the works procured. In preparing this section, the following aspects should be checked. First, information that implements provision of GCC must be incorporated. Second, the amendments and or supplement to provision of the GCC as necessitated by the circumstances of the specific purchase must also be incorporated. However, no special condition which defeats or negates the general intent and purpose of the provision of the GCC should be incorporated herein.
Specifications. Notes on specifications. A set of precise and clear specifications is a prerequisite for bidders to respond realistically and competitively to the requirements of the procuring entity without qualifying or conditioning their bids. In the context of international competitive bidding, the specifications must be drafted to permit the widest possible competition and at the same time present a clear statement of the required standards of workmanship, materials, and performance of the goods and services to be procured. Only if this is done will the objectives of economy, efficiency, and fairness in procurement be realized, responsiveness of bid be ensured, and the subsequent task of bid evaluation facilitated. The specifications should require that all goods and materials to be incorporated in the works be new and used of the most recent and or current models
and incorporate all recent improvements in design and materials unless provided otherwise in the contract. Samples of specifications from previous similar projects are useful in this respect. The use of metric units is mandatory. Most specifications are normally written specially by the procuring entity or its representative to suit the works at hand. There is no standard set of specifications for universal application in all sectors in all regions, but there are established principles and practices which are reflected in these PPDs. There are considerable advantages in standardizing general specifications for repetitive works in recognized public sectors such as highways, ports, railways, urban housing, irrigation, and water supply in the same country or region where similar conditions prevailed. The general specification should cover all classes of workmanship, materials, and equipment commonly involved in construction, although not necessarily to be used in a particular works contract. Deletions or addenda should then adopt the general specifications to the particular works. Care must be taken in drafting specifications to ensure that they are not restrictive. In the specification of standards for goods, materials, and workmanship, recognized international standards should be used as much as possible. Where other particular standards are used, whether national standards or other standards, the specification should state that goods, materials, and workmanship that meet other authoritative standards and which ensure substantially equal or higher quality than the standards mentioned will also be acceptable. The following clause may be inserted in the ECC. Sample clause, equivalency of standards and codes. Wherever reference is made in the contract to specific standards and codes to be met by the goods and materials to be furnished and work performed or tested, the provisions of the latest current edition or revision of the relevant standards and codes in effect shall apply unless otherwise expressly stated in the contract. Where such standards and codes are national or relative to the particular country or region, other authoritative standards that ensure a substantially equal or higher quality than the standards and codes specified will be accepted, subject to the procuring entity's representatives' prior review and written consent. Differences between the standards specified and the proposed alternative standards shall be fully described in writing by the contractor and submitted to the procuring entity's representative at least 28 days prior to the date when the contractor desires the procuring entity's representative's consent. In the event the procuring entity's representative determines that such proposed deviations do not ensure substantially equal or higher quality, the contractor shall comply with the standards specified in the documents. These notes are intended only as information for the procuring entity or the person drafting the bidding documents. They should not be included in the final bidding documents.
Drawings. Drawings and bill of quantities, please see the uploaded files on PhilJEP's and DPWH website. For bids to be submitted electronically or online, the following procedures should be observed following DO 87 series of 2020. Submission of electronic official receipt of purchase of the bidding documents. Confirmation of the electronically submitted official receipt. Preparation and submission of an electronic bid. Modification of an electronic bid. Non-participation in the bidding. Withdrawal of electronic bid. Opening of the electronic bid. File name convention in case of joint venture bidder. Bid opening for this project shall be on November 8, 2023, Wednesday, 9 a.m. at second floor bidding room, DPWH Guimaras District Engineering Office, San Miguel, Hordan, Guimaras. Bids will be opened in the presence of the bidder's representative who choose to attend. Late bids shall not be accepted. Bid submission may be done manually or electronically online. However, bidders should only select one mode of submission, either manual or electronic. Similar to manual submission, the guidelines for the preparation and submission of an electronic bid are contained in the BDS. Bids must be duly received by the Box Secretariat for manual submission or at electronic_Guimaras@dpwh.gov.ph for electronic submission on or before November 8, 2023, Wednesday at 9 a.m. All bids must be accompanied by a bid security in any of the acceptable forms and in the amount stated in ITB Clause 18. Any clarifications? Since there's no participants from or representative from the bidders, this